Hello, welcome back. So we are reading the same for 30 minutes. This book, this book, up to we have covered about this 40 years. So let's start reading. Also, I have to show you one thing what I have ordered yesterday, and first we read, then we will start. I will show you. So let's start the live stream, guys. So let me start the timer here. Okay, started. As you can see the timer. Okay, so let's start. Mm, winning our friends and foes. What do you mean by foes here? Most of us. Hello, 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 hello. आवाज आ रहा है? Most of us make resolutions every new year, but do we contemplate how to better our dealings with others and be a winner in the game of life? This is an extremely important art in today's corporate world where one should not only win and make friends but also win over enemies. Chanakya says he should win over those of of them who are friendly with conciliation, conciliation and gifts. Those hostile through decisions and force. There are two categories of people each one of us has to deal with in the life, friends or enemies. Dealing with friends, we have to accept that friends bring sunshine into our life. Can we live without those buddies who stand by us through thick and thin? But the first rule when it comes to having a friend is to become a good friend yourself. According to Chanakya, the way to deal with friends is through cancellations and gift. So be there when they require you. The best investment in any friendship is your time. Listen and guide them when they are confused and frustrated. The other way to win friends is with gifts. No person in this world is unmoved when they receive gifts. It's human psychology to expect it. Always put some thought into the gift you are giving. Select something that will not only be useful but also likable, and give it with the smile and genuine joy in your heart. Dealing with enemies. It's deal not to have enemies, but let's face facts. They're all they they are all around us, even if we do not want them. Whether it in the whether in the guise of competitors or full-blown foes, they are eternally around. For what do you mean by foes? Here, search foes. FOES. What does it mean? An enemy or opponent. Okay. Uh, where I am? Huh. They are meant eternally around for us to contend with. But the biggest problem with the most of us is that we try to fight the enemy alone. This almost guarantees that you will lose the battle. You should, on the contrary, have your own team before you start the fight. In the Upanishads, a student asked the teacher, "Why does the evil win?" The Guru replied, "Because the good are not united." Once you have a strong team, it's easy to win over competition. You could even create a split in the enemy and then attack them with the full force. Whatever the case, maintain equanimity, equanimity while dealing with the both types. Win over yourself and then win over the others. As our scripture says, he who is even minded with friend and foe is considered a wise man. Respect your enemies. Oscar Wilde once said, I choose my friends of their good looks, my acquaintance for their good characters. and my enemies for their good intellects. Oh man, I choose my friends for their good looks, my acquaintances for their good characters, and my enemies for their good intellects. A man cannot be too careful in the choice of his enemies. The fact is that often we do not create our enemies intentionally, but the reality is that they will exist they will exist despite us not wanting them to, whether in battle or business. But while we may not have a choice when it comes to choosing our enemies, we can surely choose how to deal with them. It's like playing any sport, you need to have a strategy in place to win the game with the competitor. Chanakya also respected his enemies. His advice was he should enter the enemy's residence with permission. In other words, always show respect to your enemies. Even though we may fight, let it be good fight and in the right spirit. But how do we do this? Here are some tips to deal with your competitors and enemies. Never take them for granted. The competitor is an intelligent, so you are, if not more, so do not take him for granted. He be alert and very careful about his moves. You never know when he may attack, and you should not attack him certainly never if you believe that he will definitely lose. Study him completely. One of the reasons for the success of the Australian cricket team is that they spend a lot of time closely studying the players of the opposite teams. They watch videos, find the weakness and strengths of the players they are watching. With such a perfect analysis, making a game strategy for beating the oppositions becomes very easy. Practice, practice, and more practice. Just because I have good weapon in my hand does not mean I will win the war. I should be able to use it effectively off the field before I use it in an actual war. The best warriors practice for hours every day, even in times of peace. Similarly, you should also polish your presentation or product demonstration. Be cool. Being prepared for a war does not mean you should go and fight. War should always be a last option, as destructive and expensive. Therefore, even if your competitor tries to provoke you, be calm. Never hate your enemies as it kills your ability to think logically. Even in the political field, there are peace talks before the war. So, give room for peace in your life as well. It's all about being prepared like the defense force of any nation. Prepare for an attack at all times. But if war does take place, do not hesitate to fight it to the bitter end. Strategy versus tactics. Strategy. This is the most misunderstood word in today's business scenario. Many managers cannot be differentiate between the strategy and the tactic. But there are some basic differences. Strategy is long term, while tactics are short term. Strategy is forward looking, tactics are situational. Strategy is vision based, tactics are need based. Of course, linguistically speaking, strategy refers to the game plan for attacking and counter attacking the enemies during the war. However, it has become a core subject in the field of management and leadership. Most heads of an organization now work on strategic management. Still, strategy is not all about wearing. There is a human angle into it. Just to illustrate this point, I will address the issue of tackling employee problems and winning with their hearts. Tanaka says strife among subjects can be averted by winning over the leaders among the subjects or by removal of the cause of strife. Let's understand a situation where a company has gone through a lockout due to dissatisfactions among the employees. This reminiscent of the 1970s when unions used to actively represent employees. To handle this situation, we find that Chanakya's practical three-step insight is invaluable. Winning over leaders. Every group has a leader. This leader is generally involved in highlighting the concern of the subject in front of the decision makers. It's easy to win over the whole group of subjects if you just convince the leader. However, what is important to note is whether the leader is more concerned about himself or his people. This is where your smartness lies to diagnose the group leader before your strategy negotiations. Remove the cause. When Even when the union used to be strong, there were companies that did not face unionism. How? Because these companies successfully solve problems even before they are they were they ever arose. I remember talking to an employee from one such organization. He said, our chairman knew our concerns even before we spoke about it. If there were genuine demands, they were fulfilled without an outsider intervening. Give them purpose. One topic which management consultants love to concentrate on is problem analysis. This has to stop. If you look for problems, you will end up playing the game. Instead, define a purpose for your organization and its people. Most of us are problem finders. Change this mindset and cultivate a goal oriented approach. As Gandhiji said, find the purpose, the means will follow. Always remember, pure strategy is a roadmap you create to reach your purpose, tactics, and how you handle the hurdles and the road and that road. Before you attacks, chapter number 46. We have 20 minutes left. Okay. There is an old saying in the army: your success is in war depends on your purpose. So the manager is messaging. Fuck. I work from home. क्या करूँगा? Reply करूँगा? 20 मिनट बात करता हूँ चलो. There is an old saying in the army: your success in the war depends on your preparation during your peace. We are all preparing ourselves for same challenge that may crop up in the future: exams, interviews, presentations, meetings, and such events. But when it comes to a confrontation, we just cannot attack our enemy immediately. We have to carefully diagnose the opponent and then decide about the attack. Sometimes not attacking is actually the best attack. Chanakya says if there is equal advancement in peace or war, he should resort to peace. Yes, war is the last route a warrior should take. After all, it results in destructions and loss of life and assets. Even in a corporate scenario, if you are wondering whether to fight or not, evaluate the complete picture and then decide your move. Unlike in the military, the corporate war may not result in actual bloodshed, but it does result in verbal arguments and attack on the competitor's market, or may even end up in a courtroom and become a legal drama. Chanakya tells us to hold on before taking such a decision. Space is the first option. But how do we decide about an attack? Think through these lines. What is the loss? One needs to ask oneself, what loss will I suffer if I take up the war? Apart from the monetary loss, there are other kinds of losses, such as losing time, energy, and the team's loss of morale. War is always a costly affair. As an army officer put it beautifully, what we built in over 10 years, we can lose in one day of war. What is the gain? We also need to look at possible gains we may get at the end of the fight. What are we fighting for? What are we going to win? Is the win really required for the benefit of one and all? And can I continue to grow without that particular gain? These deep questions need to be asked. The timing. Finally, the decision to maintain peace or to attack with all our power hinges on the right timing. This is a judgment call. The most well equipped and trained group of people may not win the game if the timing is not right. And on the other hand, even a small group of committed people can succeed if they make the right move at the right time. Given this dilemma, the well known serenity prayers could be modified and then it would and then it would read like this: God grant me the ability to know when to stay quiet, the courage to attack when I must, and the wisdom to know the difference. Oh man, this lines, man. God grant me the ability to know when to stay quiet, the courage to attack when I must, and the wisdom to know the difference. Chapter number 47: Aspects of Battlefield. So let's start. In Book 2, Chapter 18 of Arthashastra, there is a detailed classification of the weapons used by the enemy. The armory in charge is given instructions to take care of these weapons so that the soldiers are well equipped for a battle. The knowledge of the soldiers are well equipped for a battle. The knowledge of the weapons are in the skills to use them are the keys to winning a war. What are the weapons that leaders of an organization should have before they step in a battle? Let us look at a few important aspects. Knowledge and information. Today's economy is slowly becoming a knowledge economy. The more you know and inform about, the better equipped you are to fight. If you study various industries, you will find that the companies at the top are those that have focused on the knowledge utilization, research, and development, and have also made investments in knowledge assets. This will help you plan your better battlefield. Technology in today's thinking world, the effective use of technology is the solution to spending of communications and transactions. Make your organization techno savvy. Spend time investigating and understanding the latest technology. Use them, and you will find that you have a cutting edge over your competitors. It also reduces overhead in a big way. Many small countries that have a small populations but have powerful economies have used technology for high productivity. People, the man behind the machine is more important than the machine. Yes, your people, your employees, comprise your army. Without a good, strong, and powerful army, you cannot even think of stepping into the battlefield. Not only is the size of army important, but even the quality of the army is important. The right person for the right job, human resources departments have been introduced is most organization to fulfill this needs. Inspiration. The most important weapon you need for fighting is the inspiration of your organ. If your organization is an inspired organization with the fire in its belly, there will be a transformation in the organization's output. If you have this quality, the first three will follow. It is the human will that creates change. Small organizations with the tremendous will have changed the way business is done. This is also true for certain nations. A country like Singapore, hardly the size of Mumbai, is one of the most successful economies in the world today. As a leader, when you are preparing for the external war, first try to win your internal war. All weapons are useless if you are not inspired to fight. As our former President APJ Abdul Kalam puts it, it is the wings of fire that gives you the ability to reach out the skies. Wings of the fires, bhai. ठीक है. Partnership among equals. Chapter number 48. So during the days when he was creating missiles, our former president APJ Abdul Kalam was asked by why he was creating weapons of destruction. He replied, "Only strength will respect strength." This is the true in every aspects of life. We can only partner with the people who are equal to us. We do not see any value added in the time spent with the people who are lower than us in stature or knowledge. On the other hand, if a person is above, then that the person would not see any value in us. Thus, only like-minded people belonging to the same level can bond well together. As the saying goes, birds of the feather flock together. Chanakya gives a different angle to it. He says an equal shoulder over each, or help an equal. The concept of an equal in Arthashastra is that of a mitra, that is a friend. Thus, thus as quoted in the above verse, you should help your mitra and reach out to him even before he asks for help. There are many benefits of forging a partnership equal among equals. Better understanding, people at the same level have a better understanding of each other, their mindsets and their thinking patterns, their approach, etc. One's company general manager, who is in charge of leading 400 people, will easily understand the problems of another firms. General manager, who is also leading a group of 400 employees. Similarly, a PhD student will understand the constraints another PhD student is facing, even if they are from different universities. That is why even martial alliances are forged between those who have equal way of thinking, economic status, and goals. Synergy in thinking. When two people of equal status come together, they are beneficial for each other. One plus one of the greater than two. Alternatives get created, approaches change, and get an insight about doing things in more ways than one. As an individual, you may be small, but two small people working together as a term can beat even a bigger enemy. Bigger battles are won by having more equals on your side. We grow together. It is in our human nature to grow. But of what use in growth? That's meant only for you. A rich man had once said, I was poor yet happy with my childhood friends. Today I am dying a rich man without any friends. Therefore, it is important that as we grow, we include our equals as part of our growth. Remember, human life is all about partnerships, but to be a good human being, look ahead with a vision. Look around to face facts and look back to pull others along. These are also the leadership qualities are required. If you want to lead a community, society, or nation, for the next safe retreat, man, 10 minutes of left. Emergency happens. Firefighting situations could crop up any time. In our highly competitive corporate world, an enemy can attack you swiftly and suddenly. One needs to be prepared for all these eventualities. Chanakya said, in the absence of helpmates, he should find shelter in a fort where the enemy, even with the large enemy, would not cut off his food, fodder, fuel, and water, and would himself meet with losses and expenses. There are times when energy emergencies and crises force people to run away. At such times, one needs to go to a friend or an ally who will extend a helping hand. But when that is not possible, one still needs to retreat into a shelter. Chanakya gives us tips for this. Finding a fort. A fort is generally a well protected place and not just some ordinary houses or shelter. A fort has guards protecting it and will house the king in the center. In today's corporate world, a fort would denote those places where the heads of organization usually operate home. Therefore, it is suggested that the king, the chairman, the director, or CEO should maintain a good relationship with many other kings, his counterparts, so that in trouble times he can seek shelter in their fort. Protection from the enemy. The enemy could come someone who is not only after you, but also can reach you, and he will realize that you are under the shelter and protection of another king in his port. He will think twice before attacking you. After all, battles are won not only in the battlefields alone, but also in the minds of warriors. And when you have another king on your side, you automatically gain a psychological advantage, inflicting losses in return. When you are attacked, you can be certain that the enemy has made this move after calculating all possible losses and expenses. These calculations were relevant when you were alone and when it was easy to grab you. Now when you are in the shelter of another fort and protected by a friend, it will take more effort, energy and time for the enemy to get to you. To get to you. He will be forced a plan. He will be forced to plan a new strategy and consider how many soldiers he may lose himself in the process. It is very positive situation for you to have up your enemy's losses. Chanakya, a very sharp military strategist, always plan an exit policy before such a situations would actually arise. So should you in the corporate boardroom or in the marketplace or even while singing any contract. It is very important to think about the situation from all aspects and include an exit option for yourself. 50, chapter number 50, in the face of competition. In the face of competition, 6.5 minutes left. Okay, let's go. The face of competition. A leader position is an eternally challenge one while he has to ensure that due to credit is given to everyone during good times. He also has to play the role of a motivator through bad times. Kautilya Arthashastra exhorts a king to ensure that his people know how to tackle the challenges he will be giving them. Chanakya said, the conqueror desirous of capturing the enemy fortified town should fill his own side with enthusiasm. This could not be more applicable in today's corporate scenario. While India's alliances is on a roll with various mergers and acquisitions, they still need to be vigilant as they are marching ahead like conquerors, out to win over their competitors. Just like in a war, they have to be aware that before they use their employees in their onward march, inspiring them is an essential step for success. Understand uncertainty. When a war is declared, soldiers start speculating about the king's next move. That is because all strategies cannot be openly communicated to everyone. This naturally festers about out in the ranks. It is typical human nature to think negatively rather than focus on the benefits. As a leader, you have to be understand this uncertainty and think of how to take your team into confidence. Communicate and inspire. Once you have your plan ready and want to communicate your intentions to your team, do it calmly and clearly. Winning your Winning your team's confidence is very important. No external motivational speaker can inspire a team the way its own leader can. Also, it's vital your team is acquainted with the firm's visions and targets that they move in the desired manner. The added advantage of this is that employees get more inspired when there is my bad. Also, it's vital that your team is acquainted with the firm's visions and targets that they move in the desired manner. The added advantage of this is that employees get more inspired when their doubts are clear. This is essential to have optimum productivity from your team members. They will ensure you are never alone about us both as your team will have common purpose. Go forth and conquer its these visions and the time है. Hmm. Go forth and conquer its this vision and leadership and initiatives that finally make the winning moves. Size does not matter, planning does. Even Chanakya talks about how guerrilla warfare tactics can help the smallest but well-inspired take over huge armies through careful moves. Indeed, a careful planned strategy. An inspired team and the right leadership attitude are not only essential but also the only factors needed to win any war. But remember to share the benefits of the success with the team, which help you to get there. Chapter number 51, acquiring a company, mergers and acquisitions M&A are key strategies for almost all top corporations today, especially overseas ones. Indeed, India ANSYs should be at the forefront of any M&A actions, given that the concept was dealt with the great detail in our ancient texts. Kautilya's Arthashastra even defines the way of acquiring a firm. Acquisition is of three kinds: new, formerly possessed, and inherited. But Chanakya also made it clear that acquisition is not just mere killing and conquering, rather, it is a well thought out strategy which strives for the betterment of both the parties involved. In addition to material benefits, M&As should look after the people too. If this is understood, all such processes will automatically be successful, whatever the category they belong to. Taking over a new farm in the olden days, kings used to win over new territories all the times, but they needed to do a lot of study and research since not enough was known about a strange new place. Even today, the first step is in acquiring a farm is to research it in detail. This study is usually the responsibility of a strategy planning team. Due diligence and meetings can follow only after an in-depth study. Taking over an existing firm more often than not, regions that were under a particular king's control are taken over by another regions. This can be due to bad management or lack of attentions. This happens in the corporate world too. When companies grow, they lose focus on their small businesses. By the time they become aware, they find that their ownership is under threat. So the next type of acquisitions is to conquer firms formerly possesses. Taking over an inheritance, the prince may have inherited kingdom, but due to the course of time, it may have been taken away from him, possibly by his own trusted ministers. So when the prince matures and wants of his inherited share, he may be have to fight it out. This acquisition of inherited property, all these courts, cases, and you see of for ownership of small property or firm denotes this situations perfectly. Fighting back is the only way to get back what way what one had inherited but lost. Whatever the type of acquisitions having a strategic plan is a must, and more importantly that than that is to provide for people on both sides of negotiation table. So this is the time, and we'll read 52. So bye bye.